Hey there, fellow seekers of wisdom. Have you ever wondered how some people stay calm and composed no matter what life throws at them? What if you could embrace life's challenges with grace, confidence, and strength? Welcome to The Rational Explorer, Unlocking the Ancient Art of Inner Peace. In this series, we dive into timeless Stoic principles, brought to life with relatable stories, practical advice, and a dash of fun storytelling to make these ideas stick. In today's episode, we're exploring resilience through hardship or gratitude in the present, where I'll share powerful lessons to help you conquer challenges and live your best life. So grab a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's unlock some life-changing wisdom together. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more inspiration on your journey to calm and clarity.
Gratitude for the present. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, grumpy because your alarm clock betrayed you again by going off way too early. As you shuffle to the kitchen, you grumble about how life is unfair. Why can't I just get an extra hour of sleep? You mutter. Then, as the coffee brews and the smell fills the air, you take that first sip of warm liquid magic. For a brief moment, the world doesn't seem so bad. Now here's the kicker. That coffee moment, that's gratitude in action, if you let it be. Gratitude is a sneaky superpower that often hides in the little things. The Stoics knew this, and they wielded it like seasoned warriors. Seneca once said, "Enjoy present pleasures in such a way as not to injure future ones." Translation: stop whining about what's missing and start savoring what's here. A story of gratitude. Let's travel to ancient Rome. Meet Lucius, a young Stoic who lived in a bustling city. Lucius wasn't rich, but he had enough to get by. One day, his friend Marcus showed up boasting about his newly built villa overlooking the sea. "It has 20 rooms, Lucius, and the sunsets? Oh, they make the gods jealous." Now, Lucius could have sulked. He could have cursed his small apartment with its leaky roof and pigeons that made more noise than a tavern at night. But instead he leaned into his Stoic training. That evening, as Lucius patched his roof, he looked out his single window and saw the orange and pink hues of a sunset. A cool breeze brushed his face. He smiled, thinking, "This is my villa. The sky is my ceiling. The stars my chandeliers." A modern twist. Let's bring this closer to home. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. Your car inches forward while you mentally calculate how late you'll be. Frustration bubbles up. Now pause. Instead of letting the stress take over, look around. Maybe there's a funny bumper sticker on the car in front of you. Maybe the radio is playing your favorite song. Suddenly, the traffic doesn't seem so terrible. You've turned an annoyance into a moment of gratitude. Congratulations, you've just out-stoiced a Stoic. Why gratitude works. Here's the science and the Stoicism. Gratitude rewires your brain. It shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right. For the Stoics, this wasn't just self-help fluff. It was a survival tool. Life in ancient Rome wasn't all togas and wine. It was harsh and unpredictable. Yet by appreciating the present, they found peace in chaos. Even today, gratitude grounds us. It stops the endless chase for more and reminds us that enough is already here. Things to do to reset gratitude. Stop what you're doing. Look around. Find one thing, just one, to appreciate. Maybe it's the feel of your chair, the sunlight streaming through the window, or the satisfying sound of typing on your keyboard. Say or think a simple thank you. Final thoughts about gratitude. Gratitude isn't about ignoring problems or pretending life is perfect. It's about finding the good amidst the mess. The next time you catch yourself grumbling about what you lack, remember Lucius patching his roof or your own coffee moment. Gratitude isn't a chore. It's a doorway to joy. And hey, if all else fails, there's always coffee. The second thing is equanimity in adversity. Picture this. You're walking into the office on a Monday morning, feeling pretty good about life. Your favorite playlist got you through traffic, you're armed with a steaming cup of coffee, and you're ready to tackle the week. Then, bam, your boss drops a bombshell. A big client project has gone sideways, and you're somehow responsible for fixing it. Panic sets in. Now take a deep breath. This is your stoic moment to shine. Equanimity in adversity is the art of staying calm when the world feels like it's crashing around you. The Stoics believed that life is a mix of ups and downs, and true strength lies in meeting both with the same steady demeanor. Tales of Cato. Let me introduce you to Cato, one of the Stoics' poster boys for equanimity. Cato wasn't just a philosopher. He was also a senator in Rome, a job where drama came free with every toga. One day, during a heated debate in the Senate, someone hurled an insult at him. Instead of firing back, Cato sat quietly, unaffected. The room grew tense, waiting for his reaction. Finally, someone asked, "Cato, aren't you going to respond?" He smiled and said, "If a donkey kicked me, would I kick it back?" Now that's equanimity. Cato didn't waste his energy on things beneath him. He chose calm over chaos. Let's bring this into the 21st century. Imagine you're texting away on your beloved phone when, splat, it slips out of your hand and lands screen down on the pavement. You pick it up, and sure enough, your once perfect screen now resembles a spider web. The initial reaction? Rage, frustration, maybe a colorful word or two. But what if you paused and channeled your inner Stoic instead? What if you said, "This has already happened. My anger won't unbreak the screen, but it will ruin my day." In that moment, you reclaim your power. Equanimity is about refusing to let external events dictate your internal state. How to build equanimity. The Stoics trained for adversity like athletes train for marathons. They didn't wait for life to throw curveballs. They practiced staying calm in advance. Here's how you can do the same. 1. Expect the unexpected. Life is full of surprises, good and bad. Mentally preparing for challenges helps you meet them with grace. For example, think, what's the worst that could happen today? Then decide how you'd handle it calmly. 2. Zoom out. When adversity strikes, take a step back. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a year? Most of the time, the answer is no. 3. Control your response. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react. Choose calm over chaos. Imagine your reaction as a choice, not a reflex. Action. Let's say you're baking cookies for a party. The timer goes off, and you open the oven to find a tray of blackened, unrecognizable lumps. The old you might have freaked out, but the Stoic you laugh, grab your wallet, and head to the nearest bakery. Crisis averted, peace intact. Why equanimity matters. Life will test you. There will be missed deadlines, flat tires, and broken hearts. But every challenge is an opportunity to practice equanimity. The Stoics saw adversity as a teacher, not an enemy. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The calm within the storm. Equanimity isn't about ignoring adversity. It's about meeting it with steadiness. When life gets messy, you can be like the oak tree that bends in the wind but doesn't break. Whether it's a shattered phone or a shattered dream, equanimity helps you rise above the chaos. And hey, if Cato could stay calm while being insulted in the Roman Senate, you can definitely handle a burnt tray of cookies. The third one, detachment from external validation. Let's start with a scene we've all experienced. You post a photo on social media, carefully choosing the filter, tweaking the caption, and hitting share with excitement. Minutes turn into hours, and the likes, well, they trickle in slower than molasses. You start doubting the photo, the caption, maybe even your entire sense of style. Sound familiar? That's what happens when you tie your self-worth to external validation. The Stoics, however, would shake their heads at this modern-day obsession. They believed that true calm and confidence come from within, not from the opinions or applause of others. The story of Diogenes and his lantern. Let's visit ancient Greece, where a philosopher named Diogenes made a career out of not caring what others thought. One day he was seen wandering through a crowded marketplace with a lit lantern in broad daylight. When curious onlookers asked him what he was doing, he replied, "I'm searching for an honest man." Diogenes didn't need the crowd's approval. He lived in alignment with his values, not theirs. He rejected material wealth, societal expectations, and superficial praise. Instead of chasing likes or applause, or whatever the ancient Greek equivalent of TikTok was, he sought truth and integrity. Modern-day struggles, the feedback loop. Now, fast forward to today. Imagine Sarah, a young professional preparing for a big presentation. She spends weeks perfecting her slides, practicing her delivery, and ironing her suit. After the presentation, her boss gives her a lukewarm nod. No standing ovation, no thunderous applause, just a polite, "Well done." Sarah spends the rest of the day spiraling. Did I mess up? Why didn't they praise me more? But here's the thing. Sarah's hard work wasn't diminished by the lack of applause. She nailed the presentation, and the value of her effort doesn't depend on external recognition. What the Stoics say. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it bluntly, "If you live according to nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to opinion, you will never be rich." Let's unpack this. Living according to nature means aligning with your inner values and recognizing your inherent worth. Living according to opinion, on the other hand, is like chasing a rainbow. No matter how far you run, you'll never reach the end, the trap of chasing approval. Think about the times you've done something just to impress others. Maybe you bought an expensive gadget, not because you needed it, but because you wanted to show it off. Or you said yes to a project at work, not because it aligned with your goals, but because you craved praise. Now think about how fleeting that approval was. Did it last? Did it truly satisfy you? The Stoics would argue that it didn't, and never will. Chasing external validation is a treadmill that never stops. How to detach from external validation. 1. Recognize your inner value. Your worth isn't defined by others. Write down 3 things you're proud of that no one else might know about. These are your inner trophies. 2. Do things for the right reasons. Before starting something, ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or because I want applause? 3. Practice being unimpressed. When someone praises you, practice accepting it with gratitude but not attachment. Say thank you, and move on. A story of self-validation. Imagine a writer named Leo. He spends months crafting a novel, pouring his heart into every page. When he finally publishes it, the reviews are mixed. Some readers love it, others tear it apart. Instead of despairing, Leo remembers why he wrote the book in the first place. To tell a story he believed in. He didn't write for awards or 5-star reviews. He wrote because it was meaningful to him. And in that moment, Leo feels something rare and precious: peace.
The calm within, detachment from external validation, doesn't mean ignoring feedback or becoming a hermit. It means grounding yourself in your values, recognizing your worth, and refusing to let others dictate how you feel about yourself. As the Stoics taught, the applause of others may feel sweet, but true calm is knowing you don't need it to stand tall. So the next time you post that photo or finish a big project, remember, your worth was never up for debate. Fourth, humility and acceptance of ignorance. Picture this. You're in a heated debate with a friend about something trivial, like whether pineapple belongs on pizza. Your friend throws out a fact you've never heard before. Actually, pineapples on pizza originated in Canada, not Italy. Wait, Canada? This can't be right, you think, but instead of admitting you don't know, you double down. No way, pineapple pizza is definitely Italian. The debate spirals and suddenly you're Googling in a flurry, desperate to prove yourself right. Spoiler alert, your friend was correct, and now you feel silly for not just admitting, I didn't know that. This tiny moment is a reminder of a larger truth. It's okay to not know everything. In fact, the Stoics believe that acknowledging your ignorance is the first step to wisdom. The tale of Socrates and the Oracle. Let's rewind to ancient Greece, where Socrates was considered the wisest man in Athens. But here's the twist. Socrates never claimed to know everything. In fact, he was famous for saying, I know that I know nothing. The story goes like this. The Oracle of Delphi once declared that Socrates was the wisest man alive. Perplexed, Socrates set out to disprove this by questioning the supposed experts of Athens, politicians, poets, craftsmen. Time and again, he discovered that these so-called experts often pretended to know things they didn't. Socrates realized his wisdom lay in his humility. He didn't pretend to know what he didn't know. This openness to ignorance made him a perpetual learner, a trait that the Stoics admired and emulated. Modern ignorance, the case of the DIY disaster. Now let's bring this lesson to today. Meet Jake, a DIY enthusiast who decided he didn't need instructions to assemble his new bookshelf. It's just a bunch of wooden screws, Jake thought, confidently tossing the manual aside. An hour later, the bookshelf was a wobbly mess, and Jake was on the verge of tears. His partner walked in, took one look, and said, "Why didn't you just read the instructions?" Jake muttered, "I thought I could figure it out." Jake's refusal to acknowledge his ignorance turned a simple task into a frustrating ordeal. If he had embraced humility and accepted that he didn't know how to build the shelf, he could have saved himself time and stress. Why humility matters. The Stoics understood that life is vast and no one can know everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change." This isn't just about being open to correction. It's about seeing ignorance as an opportunity for growth, not a flaw to hide. How to embrace humility and ignorance. 1. Say I don't know. When faced with a question or situation where you're unsure, resist the urge to bluff your way through. Instead say, I don't know, but I'd like to find out. 2. Ask questions. Channel your inner Socrates. Ask questions not to prove a point, but to genuinely understand. This curiosity fosters learning and deepens your wisdom. 3. Accept correction gracefully. If someone points out a mistake, don't take it personally. See it as a chance to improve, not as a hit to your ego. A story of growth. Imagine Ella, a new coder, eager to make her mark at work. During a team meeting, she's asked about an unfamiliar programming concept. Instead of pretending to know, she says, "I'm not familiar with that yet, but I'd love to learn." Her honesty earns her respect, and a senior developer offers to mentor her. By admitting her ignorance, Ella gains knowledge, mentorship, and trust, all because she chose humility over pretense. The power of I don't know. In a world that often prizes being right over being real, humility is a superpower. Accepting your limitations doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It frees you from the exhausting need to always have the answers and opens the door to endless learning. So the next time someone throws a fact your way, don't rush to Google in a panic. Instead, take a breath, smile, and say, I didn't know that. Tell me more. Who knows, you might just become the wisest person in the room. or at least the most humble, and that's a victory the Stoics would applaud. Fifth, willingness to adapt. Imagine you're at a picnic. The sun is shining, the sandwiches are perfectly packed, and you've got the best spot under a shady tree. But just as you're about to bite into your PB&J, the sky darkens. A gust of wind flips your picnic blanket and fat raindrops start falling. What do? Do you sit there fuming at the weather for ruining your perfect plan? Or do you grab your stuff, laugh at the absurdity of it, and head for shelter, maybe even enjoying the rain on the way? The Stoics would say your reaction to that moment reveals how well you've mastered the art of adaptation. Life, like the weather, is unpredictable. Those who cling rigidly to plans or resist change create their own misery. But those who stay flexible find peace even in the storm. The tale of Zeno's shipwreck. Let's journey to ancient Greece and meet Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. Zeno was once a wealthy merchant, sailing across the Mediterranean with a ship full of goods. One fateful day, a violent storm capsized his ship, sending everything he owned to the bottom of the sea. At first, Zeno was devastated. His fortune was gone, and his future seemed bleak. But instead of wallowing, he adapted. Stranded in Athens, he stumbled into a bookstore and began reading about philosophy. He found new purpose, eventually founding Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided countless lives for centuries. Zeno's shipwreck was a disaster, but it also set him on the path to greatness. His willingness to adapt turned tragedy into triumph. Modern-day flexibility. The remote work shift. Now let's talk about Mia, a corporate worker who loved her office routine. Every morning she'd grab her latte, commute downtown, and settle into her desk with a view. But then the pandemic hit, and her world flipped overnight. Suddenly, she was working from her kitchen table, battling spotty Wi-Fi and video call fatigue. At first, Mia resisted. "This isn't how work is supposed to be," she complained. But as the weeks stretched on, she realized resistance was futile. Mia adapted. She carved out a cozy home office, started taking breaks to walk her dog, and embraced the flexibility of remote work. By letting go of her old routine, she found a new rhythm and a surprising sense of freedom. The science of adaptation. Here's why adaptation matters. Life is full of variables. Plans fail, relationships change, and unexpected events knock us off course. Resisting these changes creates stress, but adapting allows us to navigate challenges with grace. In psychological terms, this is called resilience. It's not about avoiding hardship, but about bouncing back stronger. The Stoics knew this long before modern science. Adaptability isn't just a survival skill, it's a pathway to inner peace. How to cultivate adaptability. 1. Expect change. Instead of assuming life will always go as planned, prepare for the unexpected. Ask yourself, what's my plan B? 2. Let go of shoulds. Stop clinging to rigid expectations. Life rarely unfolds the way it should, but that doesn't mean it can't be good. 3. Embrace the new when change comes, lean into it. See it as an opportunity to grow, not an obstacle to overcome. A story of personal growth. Meet Raj, an amateur chef with dreams of opening his own restaurant. Just as he was about to sign the lease, the landlord backed out. Raj was crushed, but instead of giving up, he pivoted. He started a food truck, bringing his culinary creations directly to customers. The truck became a local sensation, and Raj realized something. The food truck wasn't his plan, but it was better. It gave him freedom, creativity, and a way to connect with his community. 1. The calm of adaptation. Adaptation doesn't mean abandoning your goals. It means adjusting your sails when the wind changes. It's about staying true to your purpose while remaining open to new paths. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. 2. Flexibility in action. Think back to that rainy picnic. Maybe the rain washed away your plans, but it also brought unexpected beauty. The smell of wet grass, the laughter of running for cover, the chance to dance in the storm. Life is full of rainy picnic moments. The question isn't whether you'll face them, it's how you'll respond. So the next time life throws you a curveball, channel your inner Zeno. Smile, adapt, and remember. Sometimes shipwrecks lead to philosophy. Sixth, resilience through hardship. Life's challenges are like the weights in a gym. At first glance, they seem heavy, unwelcome, and a little intimidating. But the more you lift them, the stronger you become. That's what the Stoics meant by resilience. Facing hardships not with dread, but with determination. Let's begin with a story, because who doesn't love a good story? The trial of Marcus Aurelius. Picture. This Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and famous Stoic philosopher, is sitting on a makeshift throne in a war tent. Outside, the wind howls and snow piles up against the edges of the camp. He's leading his army in a grueling campaign against barbarian tribes, far from the luxury of his palace in Rome. But Marcus isn't just battling enemies. Plague is ravaging his empire. Political schemers are circling like vultures, and his health is failing. It's a cocktail of misery that would make most people crumble. Yet Marcus remains composed. Why? Because Marcus saw hardship as an opportunity to practice his philosophy. He wrote in his journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles are not barriers, they are stepping stones. Hardship, Marcus believed, was a teacher, not a tormentor. A modern tale, the case of Clara and the layoff. Now let's fast forward to the 21st century. Meet Clara, a marketing professional who loves her job and takes pride in her work. One day, out of the blue, her manager calls her into the office. The company is downsizing, and Clara's position has been eliminated. At first, Clara feels like the rug has been pulled out from under her. Fear, anger, and sadness flood in. But after a few days of wallowing, she remembers something her grandmother used to say, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do." Clara decides to treat her layoff not as an end, but as a beginning. She uses her newfound free time to take an online course in graphic design, something she's always wanted to learn. Within months, Clara starts freelancing, combining her marketing skills with her new design expertise. The layoff wasn't just a setback, it was a redirection. Clara emerged stronger, more skilled, and more resilient. Why resilience matters? Resilience isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about embracing it as part of life. The Stoics believe that difficulties are inevitable, but suffering is optional. How we frame our challenges determines how we grow from them. Think of resilience like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Each hardship is a rep, building your capacity to handle life's next curveball. How to build resilience? 1. Shift your mindset. Instead of seeing problems as punishments, view them as opportunities. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? 2. Break it down. When faced with a big challenge, don't let it overwhelm you. Break it into smaller, manageable tasks. Focus on what you can control, one step at a time. 3. Remember your track record. Think back to past hardships you've overcome. You've faced difficulties before and come out stronger. Trust that you can do it again. 4. Practice patience. Growth takes time. Be patient with yourself in the process. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. The teacher called hardship. Imagine you're climbing a steep mountain. The path is rocky, the air is thin, and your legs ache with every step. But when you finally reach the summit, the view takes your breath away. Suddenly, all the struggle feels worth it. Hardship is that mountain. The climb is tough, but the growth, the strength, the wisdom, the resilience is the reward. A lesson from nature, think of a tree. In calm weather, it grows tall and steady. But when storms come, the wind forces its roots to dig deeper into the soil. The tree becomes stronger, not despite the storm, but because of it. We are like those trees. Hardship isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. It anchors us, grows us, and prepares us for the next storm. The calm. After the storm, resilience through hardship isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging the struggle while refusing to let it define you. It's about choosing growth over despair, action over inaction. As Marcus Aurelius said, what stands in the way becomes the way. So the next time life hands you a challenge, remember, that obstacle isn't a dead end, it's a doorway. Walk through it and you'll find the strength you didn't know you had. Calm confidence in the face of death. Let's take a deep breath. Death. It's the ultimate taboo, the shadow lurking in the corners of life that no one really wants to talk about. But here's the thing. The Stoics didn't shy away from death. Instead, they stared it in the eye, unflinching, and said, "You don't scare me." Why? Because accepting mortality is like unlocking a superpower. It frees you to live fully, without fear holding you back. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Let's unravel this wisdom with a little storytelling flair. The gladiator who lived fully in ancient Rome. There was a gladiator named Cassius. Each fight could be his last, yet Cassius wasn't paralyzed by fear. Before every battle, he'd say to himself, "I could die today, but I am alive now." Then he'd step into the arena with courage and grace. Cassius didn't waste his days lamenting his mortality. He used it as a reminder to savor life. The laughter of friends, the taste of warm bread, the feel of the sun on his face. Whether he won or lost in the arena, he had already conquered fear. The modern-day Cassius now. Let's shift to present day and meet Ella, a workaholic lawyer who's always chasing the next big case. One day, Ella gets a wake-up call when a close friend is diagnosed with a terminal illness. Suddenly, her endless meetings and late nights at the office seem pointless. Ella realizes she's been so focused on achieving that she's forgotten to live. She starts making small changes, spending weekends with her family, taking up painting, something she loved as a child, and even volunteering at a local hospice. Ella doesn't quit her job or run off to Bali. She simply starts living with intention, treating each day as a gift rather than a grind. Death isn't something she fears anymore. It's something that inspires her to focus on what matters. Why embracing mortality matters. Acknowledging death doesn't mean dwelling on it or becoming morbid. It's about realizing that life is finite, and that's what makes it precious. Think about it. Would you savor a sunset as much if it lasted forever? Would you appreciate a loved one's laughter if you thought you'd hear it endlessly? The Stoics understood this. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Death gives life its urgency and its meaning. How to practice. Calm confidence in the face of death. Meditate on mortality. This might sound heavy, but it's incredibly grounding. Take a moment each day to remind yourself, "I will not be here forever, so how can I make today meaningful?" Focus on what matters. Strip away distractions and focus on the relationships, passions, and experiences that truly fulfill you. Accept the unknown. Death is a mystery. Instead of fearing it, accept it as part of the natural order, just like birth, growth, and change. Leave a legacy. Think about how you want to be remembered. Live in a way that reflects your values and brings light to others. A lesson from nature. Imagine a mayfly, a creature that lives for just one day. It doesn't waste time worrying about the brevity of its life. It dances in the sun, mates, and fulfills its purpose with joy. Humans are like those mayflies. Our time is limited, even if we don't always realize it. Instead of fearing the end, we can choose to embrace the dance. Death is a teacher. There's a Zen proverb that says, "The flower blooms because it is not afraid to wither." That's the paradox of mortality. Knowing life will end makes it bloom all the brighter. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his own death. Far from making him gloomy, it helped him live with calm purpose. He didn't waste time on trivialities. He focused on justice, wisdom, and kindness, things that outlive us all. Living fully without fear. Imagine your life as a book. The ending is already written, but you get to fill in the pages leading up to it. Will they be filled with fear and hesitation, or courage and joy? By embracing death, you free yourself to live boldly. You laugh louder, love deeper, and savor the small moments. You stop fearing the end and start cherishing the now. So, when death knocks someday, you'll greet it not with regret, but with calm confidence. You'll know you live fully, just as the Stoics taught. And that, my friend, is a life well lived. Life is a journey, not a race. Every step you take toward understanding yourself and the world is a victory. Remember, the path of calm confidence isn't about perfection. It's about progress. If you found value in today's lesson, share it with a friend who could use a little serenity in their life. And let me know in the comments, which Stoic principle resonates most with you? This is Rational Explorer, reminding you to stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay curious. Until next time, keep striving for that inner peace you deserve. See you soon.